Today I wanted to talk to you guys about Facebook lookalike audiences. What are they? How do we make them? And how can we make sure we're using the best ones possible for us? So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was what exactly are Facebook audience lookalikes? Okay, so this is the USA. This is every single active user on the USA. Now we go to Facebook and we say, hey Facebook, I'm gonna give you some data. And we'll talk about what this data is here in a short time. We're gonna say, hey Facebook, I'm gonna give you some data and I want you to take that and apply it to the USA and create an audience for me. So we can create lookalike audiences on a 1 to 10% level, okay? So what does this mean? Is because I just gave Facebook some data. Facebook said, okay, I'm gonna compare that to everyone in the USA and I'm gonna give you an audience that's gonna be a lot smaller, specific to your niche. So let's say we chose that 1% level. And let's say the data that I gave Facebook, just for simplicity this time, we're gonna go with purchasers. This is only one of the things we can use. So purchasers, so I gave Facebook a list of all of my purchasers and said, find me the top 1% of users in the USA that resemble my purchasers. So Facebook went and they found that this little tiny piece of the circle, 1%, they have the most similarities between my purchasers and when it comes to like page likes and their engagement and their users on Facebook, their age demographic, their gender, stuff like that. And they come out with this audience for me. And again, we can do this on the 1 to 10% level. So at 1%, that's 2.1 million people is the size of that audience, right? And we can go up to 10%. So we can take a chunk, that big and get 21 million people in that audience. So that's pretty much the spiel of what an audience lookalike is. Now, what kind of things can we give Facebook? This is where it gets incredibly complex, and I'm gonna tell you guys the best ones you need to use in order to optimize your ads. So we can give Facebook things like purchasers. We can also give them things like page engagement, okay? So page engagement is a new one that Facebook allows us to use. Now, what is that? We can basically say to Facebook, hey Facebook, I've got my Facebook page and I want you to tell me all of the users that engage with my page, that like my page, that comment on my post, that share my post, that like my post, that message me, the list goes on. I want you to create an audience off of those at the 1% level and resemble my target user as a result of that. Because if people are engaging with your page, they're probably interested. But we can do this with any of our website events, okay? So website events, I'm gonna write web events here. Any web events. So what are website events? These are people who visit your site. You can go based off of traffic, and these are all separate, right? So we can go off traffic. We can go off of people who add to cart. I'm gonna put ATC for add to cart. That's where those purchasers are in there, right? Purchase. I can do anything. I can go view a specific product, right? View a product. We can do anything here. We can make this list on and on and on. Any event you can track on your website. And if you have the Facebook Pixel installed, it's probably automatically dictating what these events are, so you don't even have to worry about that. You can also go by exact URL. So you guys would go ahead and create a custom audience, put in an exact URL and say, I want people who just viewed that specific URL, whether it was your homepage, whether it was a product page, whether it was anything. We can create lookalike audiences based off of that. We can create lookalike audiences based off of people who watched in a certain percentage of our videos. So if I put a video up on Facebook, and it's something about me talking like this, and if you're watching till this point, I can literally say, anyone who watched to the 2-minute and 45-second mark, I want that audience, and I want to create a lookalike off of that, and I want to give that to Facebook. Now, there are some restrictions when it comes to this. How much data can I give Facebook in order to get these results? Now, this answer actually depends on which version of Ads Manager you have. So it doesn't really help, but the general rule of thumb is 100. So if you have 100 page visitors, you can do that. If you have 100 page likes, you can do that. If you have 100 purchasers, you can do that. Blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. The only real exception to this, and only some of you guys will have this exception, is when it comes to those purchasers. Purchasers, we can give 20, okay? Now, do you want to give 20? This comes to an interesting question. If I give Facebook this much data versus this much data, what kind of results can I expect? And this is crucial to you guys trying to succeed out there. So if I give Facebook, let's just say this is 100,000 pieces of data, whether it's purchasers or whatever it is, versus 1,000. of the exact same thing. Now, if I give these both to Facebook and I say, create me an audience based off 1% lookalikes, we're going to get different audiences. We really are. But with this 100K sample, I'm going to get a user that more resembles my exact existing consumer. Now, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? That's an interesting question, okay? Now, before I answer this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that is a good thing, okay? It is, but that's also a bad thing. Because if I have these 100,000 consumers and I get a lookalike audience of basically, something that resembles these guys to the 1% level, I'm not really expanding my overall audience that much, right? Whereas if I gave Facebook, if I gave Facebook 1,000 pieces of data, right? So not a lot for Facebook to work with. It has to make bigger assumptions on who that 1% might be. So basically the end result on these is these audiences are very, very different. So as we give less data to Facebook, we end up having completely different audiences. So this is something that you guys should do in conjunction, in combination. You guys should use both of these because this is going to give me an audience that I pretty much already knew I had type of thing. Yes, I'm still going to reach 2.1 million people. That's awesome. But this one's going to give me 2.1 billion people that are completely new customers potentially. So yes, the CPA might be a little bit higher on this guy. That's fine though, because now you're finding new consumers in that area. So huge advantage, huge advantage. Now, which lookalike audiences are the best to use? This is the golden question. This is the golden ticket to this. Which ones are the best to use? Depends on how much data you have on your website, but pay attention. If you don't have many purchases, what should you be using? Should you be using, people who are visiting certain pages or what? The two things that you should be using if you don't have many purchases, pay attention, write this down, are going to be page engagement audiences. You're going to create a lookalike based off of page engagement, okay? And then the next one's going to be off of website traffic. So anyone who goes to your website pretty much has the intent of buying something or they're interested in buying something. They're just not ready to pull the trigger. Conversion rates are low for a reason. There's a lot of factors to that. We don't need to talk about that on this video. But they're all qualified consumers if they went to your website, if your ad content doesn't deceive them. If you're using clickbait, saying, you're selling water bottles and you're saying this is a life-changing, revolutionary tool, blah, 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 blah. People are going to click that because they want to see what this actually is. That's clickbait. If you're not using clickbait and you're being honest and you're saying, hey, check out this water bottle, and they come to your website and they don't end up purchasing it, that person was a qualified consumer. So we care about that. So that's if you have low amounts of data. Now, when it comes to we have high amounts of data, if you guys are actually selling, you already have some email lists, things like that, we can input those. Page engagement's a great one. Page engagement is going to be there for everyone, whether you're doing really well or just starting up. Once you have enough data for a page engagement audience, you're going to want to utilize that. When you're bigger, you're going to want to utilize your purchasers. The existing customer clientele you already have. The existing email list you already have. That's the power of lookalike audiences on a larger scale. You guys can find these new audiences. Now, how do we go about doing this? Let's hop into my computer really quickly and I'll show you guys how to create a lookalike audience very briefly, okay guys? All right, so I just hopped into an audience manager, and within Business Manager, I clicked audiences there, and I'll send you guys a link to this page. It'll be right below this video. So if you've never created an audience, this is what your page is going to look like. So I'm gonna hit create custom audience. Now this is where it gives us all of these options for the data that we can basically give Facebook. So customer file, this is like email list, website traffic. This is if I wanted to track someone who goes to specific pages or all of my website traffic. If you have an app, you can put activity. And then there's these other things like engagement. Engagement's a cool one too, where I can get them to basically, choose if they watched a certain video, if they watched a percentage of a certain video of mine, or if they filled out one of my forums, or, if they engaged with my Facebook page, which is what I'm going to do here. So I've got a lot of pages here. I'm just going to blank this out really quickly for you guys. So I found the one I wanted to use there. So I clicked my, my page that I do all of my digital marketing on. Now I can go people who have engaged with my page, people who have visited my page, people who have engaged with a post or an ad, on and on and on. And I want everyone who engaged with my page in the last 7 days, let's say. So I'm going to call this last 7 days page engagement. If I could type there. Last 7 days page engagement. So now I've got this audience created. Awesome. It's going to populate. So now Facebook's finding all of these people and going to apply it to this audience. Now, That's my actual audience that I'm going to use for this data aspect. Okay, so now I'm going to hit create audience. I'm going to click lookalike audience. Now source. This is where I have to put in the audience that I'm actually using. So again, I have to blank this out. I've got a lot of clients' information on here. So I just found the audience there. So that last 7 days page engagement, that's what I'm going to put here. That audience that I just created that's in the background there. Now I'm going to go to locations and I'm going to go to United States. Now this is very important. If you're creating a lookalike audience, you need to give the data in that country. So basically what I'm saying is if you have a ton of traffic from USA, you can't really create a lookalike off of that and apply it to somewhere like New Zealand or Australia, on and on and on, just because it won't be accurate in that sense. And Facebook sometimes won't let you. It depends on which version, again, of Ads Manager you have. And actually, funny enough, mine just updated. So it was 2.1 million people yesterday, and now it's 3 million is the audience size for 1%. So there's more and more monthly active users on Facebook, and they're finally updating their system. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit create audience. And it's going to go ahead and create that lookalike audience for me now. So once that first one populates, then I'm going to be able to use these. So it's updating this audience and populating these. Now, a great question I always get is, do these audiences automatically update? Yes is the proper answer. They do automatically update, but they're very delayed. So they don't change every 24 hours. So this can be a good thing or a bad thing. You can always recreate these and add new ones based off the last 7 days traffic on Friday again, right? I can do that in 7 days from now. But that's kind of the slippery slope. It's a tough question to answer because Facebook's always changing. Keep that in mind, guys. At this point, they do update, but it's very delayed. It's not a good system that they've got going on. If you guys enjoyed the video that you just watched, please, please, please comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, and like this video. That's what keeps me doing this. I'm literally sitting out here in Canada right now freezing my ass off. So it means the world to me if you could do that for me, and then I'll keep posting these videos for you. I think that sounds like a pretty fair trade. Thanks for watching, guys.